Abaragani, and thank you for attending this program. I'll always remember the Spring Break Tour. As the tributes to the 30-year anniversary of the University of Cincinnati African American Cultural and Resource Center continue, we will pay homage to this annual Spring Break Tour. To note, due to the serious matters of COVID-19, we were unable to attend this past tour. However, while we were unable to attend physically, the tour group sent our prayers, our hopes, and our spirits in our places. With that, it is our hope that you watching today are remaining safe and healthy and have overcome any personal challenges you may have experienced by way of this awful pandemic. Ironically, many of the cities that we have planned on attending were mostly affected by this pandemic. Therefore, while the university, through great wisdom and leadership, restricted all travel, the AACRC applauds UC's efforts for the care demonstrated towards our staff and our students. And even today, we appreciate all of the efforts in keeping the University of Cincinnati community knowledgeable and safe as we navigate through the campus. And now let's learn a little bit about the history of the University of Cincinnati Spring Break Tour.
This legendary tour dates back to the 80s and is the only one of its kind to last as long as it has. It came long before the existence of the Culture Center, which brings me to the major historical feat of the tour. This tour was the influencing instrument in birthing some of the more impactful student groups and student movements that stand even still today. As a result of the 1988 tour group visiting the Joseph Bishop Black Culture Center at Vanderbilt University, students, under the leadership of Harlan Jackson and the United Black Association, returned to the university and developed a proposal to request the university to formally create a Black Culture Center. Thus, 30 years later, the AACRC stands as a nation and has impacted the continent and the community consistently. As everyone knows, the Spring Break Tour is known as a time for students to enjoy 10 days of bonding, social learning, and cultural enrichment, while also sharing valuable experiences with other students on other PWIs who look like us. This time has been credited for establishing new ideas and initiatives within UC student organizations. And for those who were lucky enough to experience any one of the tours, those 10 days were for many some of the most memorable times amongst all of their college years. Many lifelong relationships were formed, and a love for this experience will live in their hearts and souls forever for everyone. While everyone shared the same locations, however, they shared many different stories. Accordingly, the informal theme, "What happens on the tour, stays on the tour," helped to bond the most cherished memories. But in the end, the decision to go was confirmed by wanting to go again the following year, and as each tour left all positive imprints upon everyone. And now, please enjoy some of these memorable moments.
Hello, this is Harlan Jackson. Hey, I was at the University of Cincinnati in the mid to late 80s and got the fortunate opportunity to go on 2 spring break tours. They were monumental events. The key things that I remember about those tours that I found just so incredible, and I hope all students who have an opportunity take full advantage of it if they can. One is just the camaraderie with other students. You know, it's great to be on the campus and in and out of classes and hanging out in different spots around UC and really enjoying time together, different events. But man, to get on a road trip on that bus, music, laughter, storytelling, there's just nothing like it. So I know I bonded with so many of my fellow students in a great way then. And the other aspect is just the history. Going to lots of those historical Black colleges and universities, getting a chance to interact and talk with other students, hearing about their history, hearing about some of their struggles, some of the challenges that they're dealing with, really allowed us, I think, as a generation of students to really connect and really learn from one another and really grow together. Also, the administrators that come along as well. You know, you get the different side of folks. It's different than when they're in the classroom or on campus versus when you're on the road together. So it was a big, important part of me growing as a student, as a young man, and I highly encourage anyone to take full advantage of that opportunity. It's a beautiful thing. We got to keep it going. God bless.
Hey everybody, my name is Cameron Marshall. I'm a fifth year accounting and finance major with a minor in sports administration. So I was on spring break tour my freshman year, spring of 2017. So that was the New Orleans, Atlanta, and Florida route. Spring break tour was definitely one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life and definitely collegiate career. I was able to not only make a lot of new friends, but also got really closer with a lot of my current friends as well. And a lot of people from tour have really become my lifelong friends, even after college going forward. I've also been able to, really get a great glimpse of different perspectives, being on tour and talking to different people. Kind of some of my favorite moments are one, honestly, just being on the bus for that long, getting to know everybody, singing along different songs and stuff, and just playing different games on the bus was a lot of fun. Also, of course, hotel rooms, having late nights in there, playing games and talking, just really mended the bond that we all had while we were on spring break tour. Some of my favorite moments as well were we went to Memphis and were able to see the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Museum down there and see where he was assassinated was really chilling and very informational and educational for me, and something that I always remember. Also in New Orleans, we were able to go down to a plantation site actually and really kind of walk the grounds and kind of just take a step back and really understand where our people came from. So spring break tour definitely will change your life. Definitely encourage everybody to do it at least once, and you'll have a lot of great fun and make a lot of new friends from it. So please, if you can, please go on the spring break tour during your collegiate career. It'll change your life. See you guys.
What's good, y'all? My name is Dr. Curtis Webb, actually a recent graduate at the University of Cincinnati. I'm so excited I got asked to do this and talk about how amazing tour is. It was an incredible time, my first time going, where I got to spend it with some of the greats like Doc, Miss Nikki, Dr. Aaron Green, Eric, Miss Benita. So many others made that trip amazing. We got to go to so many museums, see so many sites across the country, which basically told us about the story, both the triumphs, the challenges, and the future of Black people. It was amazing. I remember specifically when we went to the Martin Luther King Center. We got to go to his house, went to the Carolinas, and also we got to go to several HBCUs and build some critical connections and network across both among those people who was on the trip, but also across so many institutions. So I love tour. I love the AACRC, and I hope you all get a chance to go at some point too. Peace.
Hi, my name is Marjavon Shaw. I went to the University of Cincinnati between 2007 and graduated 2012, communications major. What's cool about the tour and what I love so much about the spring break tour was literally the conversations that I would have with so many students, whether it be University of Cincinnati students as well as students from other campuses. What's crazy is that we really had a strong connection with a school in Florida, and they're still my friends to this day. We also actually hired some of those individuals actually in the nonprofit that I work for. So literally those connections are so important. And I think that that's what makes the tour, the tour is the relationships that you're able to create that perhaps you wouldn't have if you were on campus. You'll just like walk past that person or you just really didn't have the time. So, those times when we'll just be like around the pool and everything in Atlanta and just like sitting back and just like chatting was literally my favorite experience. So I hope that you all have an amazing time on the tour, because it's just something that, that I will always cherish as an adult, probably to the day that I die. But that's it.
Habari Ghani. It's Dr. Erin Green. I am a three-time alum of the University of Cincinnati. I was the graduate assistant in the AACRC from 2014 to 2018. And I just have so many memories of planning spring break tours and being on spring break tour. But I think the one that stands out the most for me was the 2 times that we got to build houses in the Lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans with Habitat for Humanity. Just the way that we all pulled together, the fact that we were doing something that was fun for us, but also would positively impact our own communities. It was just a really good memory, and it's something that lasts. It's a legacy. Something we really built with our hands is there, and it's helping our community. I love that. I also love the fact that I got to help with creating the 3rd leg of Spring Break Tour, where we go to the East Coast, and we went to Washington, D.C. and Virginia and Carolinas, I think, and it was almost the same exact route that the Freedom Riders took in the 1950s. So just knowing that we were doing something that historically our ancestors did, but it also was providing a new opportunity for center kids for the future. I just love it. I love what the Spring Break Tour represents. I love that it is not only educational, but it's fun. You see leaders born on the Spring Break Tour. It is something that works as an incubator to send people back to UC with new ideas, new hunger, and more history. So it's something that I really am encouraging all students, if you get the opportunity, always try to get on the Spring Break Tour. There is always something new to learn. I don't care how many times you've been, and the memories will last you forever.
My favorite memory from Spring Break Tour is my freshman year. It was 2012, and we went to Jackson, Mississippi. And one thing about the Spring Break Tour is you cannot get left by the bus. Well, me, Alana, Taylor, Alex, along with some others, went to Jackson State University's Sigma House. And it was fun, but we were there so late. And when we got back to the hotel, we decided that it would be a great idea to just stay up because it was almost time to catch the bus. Well, we was knocked out. People was calling us, and it wasn't until Brandon Reynolds knocked on the door that we got up and got on the bus. Like, we almost got left. And that was just a funny memory that I will never forget from Spring Break Tour 2012.
Habari Ghani. My name is Gerald Crosby. I'm a 4th year here at UC, and I'm here to speak to you all about my most memorable or favorite moments for the AACRC Spring Break Tour. And this tour, is about 2 weeks, I think, and there's so much that's going on. So I have so many favorite moments, but I think the first thing that sticks out are the bus rides. That is our main way of transportation. And some of these, cities and states are 6 to 8 to 12 hours away. So they're long rides, but they don't seem as long because you're with like a community of people that you really like and that you really share the same interests with. You get to learn a lot about each other. The Village Keepers challenge us to think critically about our Blackness, our purpose, our wants and our needs, and kind of what we're going to do on our campus and outside of our campus, and kind of why we're doing that. And I think we don't often get in college, that that village keeper concept, having, you know, your mentors and stuff be with you for 2 weeks. I think that is very transformative, I think, for me and a lot of my peers, just having that guidance and that education that challenge each other back and forth so that we can grow. I really appreciate the bus rides. There's a lot of singing, a lot of joke cracking, a lot of snoring, and all the stuff that people normally do on bus rides, but it's so memorable because what else would you get an experience like that? So I would say that's one of my favorite moments. And another thing that I really enjoyed was like the shopping excursions and the food, the restaurants and stuff that we would go to, the monuments, things like that. Because you often get to go with like a friend or a group of people that you might not have known, and you're like learning about your history with other people who might also be learning about the history for the first time. So like, I think it's really cool to just have those deep debriefing conversations after some of these things that we've seen on Spring Break Tour, and then talk to my fellow peers like, yeah, like that monument or that museum really woke me up or gave me a different perspective about what happened in the 1960s or etc. And I think that those two are some of my most memorable moments on the Spring Break Tour. But I think overall, overarching, just the family and community aspect of the Spring Break Tour is one of my favorite things that I kind of admire the most. And I think that I will always remember after graduation.
Hi, I'm Byron Stallworth, and I took 3 spring break tours while a student at the University of Cincinnati with Dr. Abercrombie. Um, One of the things that was really cool is I was a RA and a student leader. I learned how to write grants, and so I could go to different departments of the university, request funding for the trip, and then, of course, I'd have to provide some of my own. But I remember going to several cities that had HBCUs and then some other schools like the University of Cincinnati, but Prairie View stood out because it turns out the most black engineers. Southern University because the coach there, tennis coach there, wanted me to transfer schools and play tennis there. Dillard and Xavier in New Orleans, and then of course our time in Atlanta, Morehouse, Spelman, and the like. I remember going to Fisk and then Meharry Medical School, which turns out the most black doctors in the country. But I did this for 3 years. Some of my best friends from campus were on those trips. And my sister went on one, I believe. So I had a great time, great experience. You can go on a spring break tour, do it. Find a way to do it. There's nothing like it. Have a great day. Byron Stallworth. Out.
Thank you all for watching this video today. And what was previewed is just a glimpse of the opportunities, the many experiences, the benefits and overall joys of having attended our annual spring break tour. One of my fondest memories is what was called the Skull Session, and that's when Doc would gather students for an all-out conversation that was purposed to challenge them in areas that would help them achieve the highest level at UC on a predominantly white campus. The students were very much empowered with wisdom and were given inspiration to go back to campus to make a critical difference in the black community. Another one of my fondest memories was when the tour was predominantly made up of the AACRC choir. So at almost every stop, the choir performed whenever there was an opportunity, whether it was a church, whether it was a step show, whether it was somewhere else on campus. We often linked up with another like choir on a different campus, so it was a very great time for the choir. And back then, the choir was in its heyday, and we were regarded for winning national competitions and were highly regarded for our vocal excellence. I remember vividly one tour stop when the tour bus, we visited Greater St. Stephen's in New Orleans, where Bishop Paul Morton, who was a renowned pastor, a very respected gospel artist, and leader in the gospel industry and in the gospel community, he invited us back to sing at one of his afternoon programs. And I thought that was very inspiring for the students to have been asked to sing on such a stage. And one final memory that I have is our last stop, which is Atlanta. And every year, of course, we would see less and less of the students. And we knew that the students would be very tired. We knew that they would need to have time to rest, but we also knew that they wanted to kick it that last 4 days in Atlanta. And I just personally could not wait to unload the bus so that I can walk right up to Phipps and Lenox Mall. Even if we got there late, 7 o'clock, unload the bus, I go up there walking, stinking, and I just had to see what was on those racks. Finally, I wanted to thank again all those who contributed to this video, and a special thanks goes out to Mr. Quincy Alfrey, who brilliantly pulled together the pieces to this video. I hope you enjoyed the tour memories as well. Hope that those who have never gone now see the value to the Black community, to Black students, and to UC of having attended the tour. I wish everyone a safe and healthy rest of the year. Peace.